All right, let's pull back the curtain on the web. We're going to look at the invisible instructions, the secret code that makes all of our favorite websites and apps just work. We're talking about scripting languages. This is the stuff that truly runs the web. So let's dive in. Seriously, have you ever thought about it? You type your name into a box, you click a button, and poof, the website responds. It might welcome you by name, show you what's in your shopping cart, or maybe tell you your password isn't strong enough. What is actually happening in that split second? It feels like magic, but it's not. Believe it or not, that whole complex process can be explained with a really simple analogy: ordering food at a restaurant. Now, stick with me on this one, because by the end of this, you are going to see the entire internet as this big, bustling diner, and you'll know exactly who's taking the order and who's cooking the meal. Okay, so first things first, what even are these secret instructions we're talking about? Well, they're called scripts. The key word, the absolute most important word in that definition, is automation. A script is just a list of instructions that tells a computer to do something automatically, so a person doesn't have to sit there and do it step by step. It's the engine that makes the web feel alive and interactive, instead of just being, a flat page of text like in a book. And here's where it gets interesting. These automated tasks, they happen in two very different places. That gives us our two main types of scripting: what happens on the client side and what happens on the server side. Or, to go back to our analogy, what happens right there at your table and what happens back in the kitchen. Let's start with the part of the show you can actually see. This is client-side scripting, and all of it happens right in front of you, right inside your web browser. So in a restaurant, the client side is your friendly waiter. The waiter brings you the menu, takes down your order, and handles all those immediate requests. Like checking that you actually wrote down what you want before they run off to the kitchen with the order slip. And check this out. Each of these points maps perfectly to our waiter. The script runs in your browser, on your computer, not on some machine miles away. It's all about the user interface, making menus drop down when you click or making buttons light up. And it's super fast because the waiter is right there at your table. They don't need to run to the kitchen for every little thing like getting you a glass of water. And for security, well, the waiter can't just stroll into the manager's office and open the safe, right? Of course not. They have limited access. But what about the really heavy lifting? The actual cooking of the meal? For that, the order has to go to the back. It has to go to the server. The server side is the kitchen of our restaurant. It's the part you, as the customer, never get to see. But it's where all the real magic happens. It's where your order is actually understood, processed, and your meal is prepared from scratch. And again, look how perfectly this describes the kitchen's job. The code runs on the web server, that's the central kitchen. It handles database operations, which is like the kitchen checking the pantry to see if they have enough ingredients. It handles all the complex stuff, the actual cooking. That would be way too much for the waiter to do out on the dining floor. And, this is critical, it's way more secure. Your sensitive payment information is handled in the secure kitchen, not passed around out in the open. Okay, so we have our waiter, and we have our kitchen. Let's put them side by side to really get a feel for how different their jobs are, and yet how much they really need each other. So on the left, we've got our friendly waiter, the client side, and on the right, the powerhouse kitchen, the server side. Let's just walk through this row by row. First up, execution. This is the biggest difference right here. Client-side code runs in your browser, on your computer or phone. Server-side code runs on the web server, which could be a giant computer sitting in a data center halfway across the world. Now, security. This one is huge. Because client-side code runs on your machine, a savvy user can actually look at it. It's like watching the waiter write down your order. But server-side code? That's a total black box. It's all hidden away back in the kitchen, which makes it way, way more secure for handling things like passwords or your credit card number. And finally, use cases, which is basically their job descriptions. The client-side waiter is all about making things look good and feel smooth, and making sure you filled out the form correctly. Meanwhile, the server-side kitchen handles the big, important jobs, talking to the database, confirming who you are, and doing all the real data crunching. And you can even see they use different tools for the job, with JavaScript basically running the show on the client side, and a whole team of languages like Python and PHP working hard in the kitchen. So, after all that, who wins the showdown? The waiter or the kitchen? Well, that's kind of the wrong question to ask, because this was never a competition. Here's the main thing to take away from all this. The modern web, the one we use every single day, it simply cannot exist without both of them. You need that fast, responsive client-side waiter for a good experience, and you absolutely need that powerful, secure server-side kitchen to do all the real work. They're a team. Think about it. A waiter with no kitchen has no food to serve. A kitchen with no waiter has no customers to cook for. It's that perfect partnership, that constant back and forth conversation between your browser and the server that makes the web feel so seamless and so magical. So now, every time you click a button online, you're in on the secret. You know about that conversation happening between the front of the restaurant and the back. You understand the language of scripts. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with that knowledge? Thanks for tuning in.